Toyota dealer. Get all the quality and reliability of a Toyota during Toyota's Best for Less sales event. By Aflac, we've got you under our wing. And by Dolphin Carpet and Tile, guaranteed lowest prices on quality flooring. It is a bright and hot evening here at Landshark Stadium. The Marlins and the Cubs, a 5:05 local start. Cubs look this way, not only is Aramis Ramirez not in the lineup, but Milton Bradley and Kosuke Fukudome getting the night off, at least to start with. Sam Folds in center, Ryan Terrios at short, D. Lee had the big homer in the 10th last night, Jake Fox a good stick at third base, Micah Hoffpower gets the start in right, Alfonso Soriano in left, Mike Fondo at second, Coy Hill continues to do the catching. Giovanni Soto's about a week away from coming off the disabled list. And a familiar face, Ryan Dempster, on the mound.
Pretty good numbers in his career against his former organization. Ricky Nolasco, though, will remember his 6-3 loss to Zambrano in Chicago. 8 hits, 6 runs, gave up a grand slam to Derek Lee. It was at a time, certainly, that Ricky was struggling and eventually would be sent down for a couple of starts. But his last outing, no decision. The Marlins won 4-3 against Atlanta. Ricky pitched well, 7 innings, gave up 7 hits and a couple of runs, had 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, has really thrown the ball extremely well. This is his 11th start now since his return. Take a look at the defense. The sunshine will be a factor, especially in the outfield. Coughlin, Ross, Hermida in right field. It's a little tougher. Cantu and Nick Johnson at the corners. Bonifacio starting at short, and John Baker behind the plate. And you kind of watch for Jorge Cantu today, especially on ground balls, to see if he can get things ironed out and make a couple of good throws. And I think if he does, Rich, I think everything will fall into place.
Our weather today brought to you by Miccosukee. Come play our way. 90 degrees. In Chicago, 77. So the Marlins and the Cubs go at it. Andy Fox, Carlos Tosca working with Jorge Cantu before the ballgame. One of the things they imparted to him, pick up the target a little earlier. They felt that he was starting his throwing motion without picking up the target early. So we'll see if that makes a difference tonight. Fold takes a strike. And Ricky's out in front 0-1.
And it's certainly something that Jorge was aware of. He talked about his throwing yesterday before the game.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. And there's no question about the arm strength of Cantu. He's been long tossing all year long. And as we noted 4 or 5 days ago, started taking ground balls over there. But obviously, live game action is a lot different. And Nolasco with a big lollipop curveball for a strike. It's 1-2.
That pitch has been much more consistent since Ricky came back. The early breaking balls for strikes.
Fold pops it up. Baker, you could see John battling the sun.
Of course, the catcher doesn't have the luxury of the flip down glasses.
You know, some catchers will wear glasses, but a lot of times that's with the sun not behind them, but the sun out, say, in right field or above. At this time of night, there's really no need for the glasses looking out towards the pitcher. Fold gets into that one. Ross goes back. Cody's there. He's got the glasses, and that's where it's tough right now, out in center and right field.
Yeah, I talked a little bit with Jeremy Hermida before the game. Cody Ross was standing there too, and they both agreed. Center field, right field especially, this time of day as the sun starts to go down is most treacherous in right field.
Here is Terrio, and he had a more than a bit part last night. He didn't start in the ball game, but he finished, and boy did he ever, with a 2-run double in the 9th inning. As the Cubs felt they had taken the lead in the 9th for good, the Marlins came roaring back with 3 runs in the 9th to tie the game at 8 apiece.
Ryan Terrio is a nice little piece for Lou Piniella. He's got some big boppers, but playing shortstop, he's hit well. He hit 306 in July and is a very solid player.
Velasco misses up with a breaking ball. Lou Piniella said last night, with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the 9th, he was ready to order a mojito. And then all heck broke loose. And about an hour later, they finally got the win, did the Cubs. But he's given some of his regulars a day off. Aramis Ramirez hit on the elbow on the changeup by Leo Nunez. He's out for today. In an emergency, he might be able to swing a bat.
Yeah, and Fukudome getting the day off. Milton Bradley getting the day off.
Two-two.
I think the same holds true with Hanley Ramirez. In an emergency, he can swing the bat. I think Freddie's a little more concerned with his running. He said he has Brian Sanchez ready to pinch run just in case.
That ball's hit well, left field and deep off the top of the scoreboard, and it bounces by Coghlan. Terrio racing around second, on his way to third, picked up by Bonifacio, and he's in there. That was hit so hard that Cody Ross really didn't have time to come over from center to cover for Coghlan.
I'm not so sure, Rich, I've ever seen a triple in this ballpark in that area come off the wall so hard. High fastball, even slips coming out of the box. Terrio smokes this ball. And no fault of Chris Coghlan. He lays back to play the carom, but it hit the wall so hard and bounds all the way back into left field. And you're right, it took a long time for Cody Ross to get there. Bonifacio actually gets it first. And good hustle, good running by Terrio to get the triple.
And a real big at bat now for Derek Lee. Popped him up. This is not an easy play. Baker looking into the sun, makes a catch.
Well, that's a huge out on one pitch. Got a good fastball. You want to try to tie up Derek Lee, who's been hot in this series. He had 4 hits last night. There's a fastball, ran in under his hands and got the pop fly.
Yeah, Baker did not see it immediately, and he finds it and makes the catch. And now Nolasco, to complete the escape, has to get Jake Fox. Fox, who hit a big home run in the first game of the series, a 2-run shot. That was off of Chris Volstad. Is the emergency catcher with Soto on the disabled list for the last almost month. It's been Coy Hill for all but 6 innings behind the plate.
He's got to be running out of gas.
Soto, hopefully for the Cubs, is back within a week.
Hey, we talked to Rich about Jake Fox hitting his way to the major leagues. This year, in 45 games at AAA, he's hitting .409 with 17 home runs and 53 RBIs. Yes, sir. Good job, Ricky.
Big breaking ball strikes out Fox and strands Terrio at third. Marlins get their first swings at Ryan Dempster.
Y es presentado por Taco Bell.
Ryan Dempster now on the hill, and this is his second start since coming off the disabled list for a rather embarrassing injury. He was hopping over the fence in front of the Cubs dugout to celebrate a victory, caught his foot, landed, and broke his toe. Chris Coghlan goes after the first pitch and hits it in the air to left. Soriano makes the catch. Marlins lineup looks this way. You've seen Coghlan. No Hanley, so Bonifacio's in there in front of Nick Johnson, Jorge Cantu, Jeremy Hermida, Dan Uggla, Cody Ross, John Baker, and Nolasco will hit ninth. Well, here's Bonifacio. The ironic part of last night's ball game, Bonifacio, of course, replaced in the lineup by Nick Johnson, then had to come in and did exactly what the Marlins had been hoping he would do all year, and that's get on base, cause havoc, and have a big hit. He ended up going 2 for 2 with a walk, a sacrifice, and of course the 2-run triple, the big hit.
Yeah, he did all of those things that you mentioned. Got on base, caused havoc, got a big hit. The Marlins, if Dempster is on, they'll see a lot of sliders. Good fastball, sliders, and a splitter.
This was the at-bat. The Marlins rally in the bottom of the ninth. Bonifacio against Kevin Gray. If Fukudome doesn't field this ball cleanly off the wall, it could have been an inside the park home run.
Well, you saw Bonifacio looking at Bo Porter all the way as he neared third base.
One and two the count. Dempster does the glove flip. Developed that because he felt some people were picking up his pitches, that he was tipping pitches to hitters.
Yeah, he thinks it helps him, and it does. It disguise any movement he may make when he reaches in, gets the grip on especially the splitter. So he can kind of disguise it with the flip of the glove.
Check swing. No swing. As Marty Foster. Wally Bell's behind home plate. Chad Fairchild at first. John Hirschbeck, the veteran, out at second. And Foster is at third base. So Bonifacio has run the count to 3-2. I think for Bonifacio, one of the biggest hurdles to get over, and any successful hitter has to do it. Nick Johnson is one of the best in baseball at doing this, and that's hitting with 2 strikes, not being afraid to hit with 2 strikes.
And Nick Johnson has said that.
There's a perfect example of a pitch that if he doesn't hit it, it may hit him in the foot, and that's obviously a pitch that Bonifacio can't afford to swing at with 3 balls. I mean, that's ball 4. He's at first.
And that's where you see the patience, the difference in a Chris Coghlan or a Nick Johnson. Certainly, in Nick's case, more experienced at that.
He walked him. That's a very good at bat.
Let's see how the Cubs set up defensively this afternoon with Soriano in left field. Fold and Hoffpower filling out the outfield. There's Jake Fox and Ryan Theriot on the left side. Fontenot and D. Lee on the right side. Coy Hill is behind the plate.
And here is Johnson. 2 for 3 last night. Walked twice. Was hit by a pitch. So he was on base 5 times. He is 5th in the National League in on base percentage. And of course he drove in a run, and Dempster chases Bonifacio back.
And the great note, the fact that no Marlin in their history ever reached base 5 times in their debut.
Dempster misses up. He's a great guy to have right behind a speedster, whether it's in the 2 spot and you've got Coughlin in the leadoff spot, or in this case Bonifacio, because he'll see pitches. If you want to run, he'll be patient enough to take it. Ryan Dempster, Gibson's, British Columbia. Bonifacio bluffed. Now he's going back to first, and Johnson ends up rolling into a double play. Bonifacio started to steal, then stopped, and the Marlins first goes up in a cloud of dust. Second inning, scoreless ball game. You can experience Marlins baseball from the best seats in the house. The 4-game premium seat plan. 4-game premium seat plan available for a limited time only. Get the VIP access you deserve. 1-877 Marlins. Velasco and Micah Hoffpower leads it off. Hoffpower, Soriano, and Fontenot. Well, that swing was so violent, he knocked the C right off his helmet. Not quite as embarrassing as the Nationals mix-up. Ross sees that one all the way. And there's one out.
You know, a lazy, routine fly ball like that, and this being Kids Sunday, baseball basics, that's called a can of corn. Just an easy fly ball. I played with a guy in the minor leagues from Orangeburg, South Carolina. For some reason or another, he used to call it a bag of corn. We used to tell him, no, it's a can of corn.
Well, didn't the saying originate from when you go to the general store and they would keep the cans of corn up on the top shelf, and you just kind of tip it off the shelf?
Let it come down, float down into your hands.
Like a can of corn. Maybe they didn't have cans where he was from. Bonifacio gets around it and makes an accurate throw to first in time. We've spent a lot of time talking about Jorge Cantu and his transition from first over to third. For Bonifacio, shortstop is not necessarily a natural position. He's more of a second baseman. But he looked good getting around that ball.
Yeah, and you think about it, you have Jorge Cantu over third. his second game. And Bonifacio has started 8 games at shortstop.
I think in the super sub role that Bonifacio is occupying, that's the difference between he and Alfredo Amezaga. Amezaga is a better defensive player, especially at short. And Bonifacio might be a better offensive player than Amezaga.
And I would even say Amezaga in center field is better.
Pretty good looking pitch, and it's 2-1. Fontenot 1 for 7 in this series.
He's been a versatile guy for Lou Piniella. He's started some games, started a lot of games at third base when Ramirez was on the DL.
Hits that ball well. Ross goes back, looks up, and it's off the wall. Cody does a nice job of playing the carom, because he's all alone out there in center. You saw what happened with Coughlin on the ball that Terrio hit. It bounced by him for a triple. And Ross wanted to make sure the same thing didn't happen.
I think you can see already, and that is nicely played, because he gets a little too close to the wall, because for a moment he thought he could make the catch. But I think you can see the ball is jumping pretty well this afternoon. This 5 o'clock local start. We've seen a couple of balls really carry.
Here is Hill. Cubs catchers had to be an Iron Man. Wichita State product. We told you at the beginning of the series about the terrible accident he had in the offseason. A saw cutting off 2 of his fingers and his thumb on his right hand. Drives that ball to right. Hermida is there, and he makes the catch. That one danced around in the sunlight a little bit. Still scoreless. The first. How about Cody Ross at center field? Give us a Tommy's tip.
Well, we've seen Cody Ross make some spectacular plays, and it all starts with him getting a nice jump. If you watch from the very beginning, there's a fly ball. He tracks it, nice jump, gets back, and makes it look easy over the shoulder. Now, you know if Cody can't catch one, it's hit really hard. Just a few moments ago, this ball carries over his head, but he plays it nicely off the wall. Got a good jump. Just couldn't catch up to that one.
Cantu takes a big breaking ball from Dempster. Cantu, Hermida, Ugla in the second. Dempster was an all-star as a Marlin back in 2000. The first Canadian all-star on the mound since Fergie Jenkins. And of course, he was an All-Star in 2008 as well. He struck out the side in the 9th inning in last year's All-Star game.
We had a terrific year last year for the Cubs. 17 wins, 17-6, and a 2.96 ERA. That was the good news. The bad news was postseason for Ryan Dempster.
Yeah, he got lit up in Game 1 of the division series against the Dodgers. Let's see how Hoffpower handles it.
You know, and in that game, Rich, it wasn't so much getting lit up with all kinds of base hits. He walked 7. 7 walks in 4 2/3 innings. He just could not throw strikes in that game against the Dodgers, and that was their first game. That opened up the series against LA in the division series.
Hermida now. Jeremy has hit in 9 straight, and he's got 5 hits in this series. Both the Marlins and the Cubs, I'm sure when they came out to watch batting practice, took a peek up at the scoreboard. See what everybody's doing in the wild card in the Central, in the East. Herm takes inside. First and foremost to the Cubs. The Cardinals shut out by Houston. Bud Norris.
Boy, they finally shut down Matt Holliday. He was 0 for 4.
And it was Bud Norris that did it, the starting pitcher for Houston. There's the Giants and the Phillies in the 6th. Giants with a 1-run lead. The Rockies have won. Boy, Dempster, the bottom dropping right out of those.
Yeah, that looked like he tried some sliders. That pitch was the good splitter. And you're right, bottom fell out of it, and you got Jeremy Hermida chasing.
The Rockies and the Giants open play as wild card leaders, but the Rockies in extra innings beat Cincinnati 6-4. Uggla goes after a breaking ball. This has been a frustrating series for Dan Uggla. 0 for 7 and 4 strikeouts.
Been a tough homestand. Dan just 3 for 18 on the homestand. And the other thing about Ryan Dempster, he has been one of those pitchers that has made the transition from starter to closer and now back to starter. He was the Cubs closer in 05 and 06 and 07.
Kevin Gregg tried to close last night. The Marlins got to Gregg. He ended up getting the win. And Jeff Samardzija down there. Samardzija, of course, an All-American wide receiver. Gregg was a highly touted high school quarterback recruited by a lot of Pac-10 schools out of Corvallis, Oregon.
One of those guys has to have a football in their locker, don't they?
You would think.
Get out there early at Wrigley Field where the Bears used to play. Remember, the Chicago Bears used to play at Wrigley.
Yep. All the old baseball stadiums used to house NFL teams. 3-2. Nope. Uggla walks. So Dan's aboard, and that'll bring Cody Ross up. Ross has struggled in this series as well. He's 1 for 9 with 5 strikeouts.
A little success against Ryan Dempster. A couple of hits, 2 for 6, a double and a triple.
Dempster 2-1 with 3 saves against the Fish. And he did not face the Marlins when the Fish were in Chicago this year. Dempster goes 2-0.
And Cody just 3 RBIs since the All-Star break.
I think one of the frustrating things for the Marlins wasn't the comeback and then the loss in extra innings. It was the comeback to get to 6-5 and the inability to tie the game or take the lead earlier than the ninth. Ross is in disbelief at that call.
You know what? He had a call go against him last night, but he really let it affect his at-bat. He eventually swung at a pitch way out of the strike zone. So was that a bad call? Probably. But you just can't let it affect the entire at-bat.
He lays off the breaking ball. It's 3-1.
I think it was early in the game, the third inning. He took a pitch that he thought was clearly a ball and then swung at a bouncing breaking ball and just had frustrating and a poor bat.
John Baker on deck. Got a fastball, bounces it up the middle. Nice play by Terrio, who flips to Fontenot. And the Marlins are done in the second. We go to the third, scoreless.
Velasco's been motoring along since being called back from AAA, and one of the most impressive numbers is his strikeout to walk ratio, where he's pitched about 67 innings coming into this outing here since the return, and he's struck out over 70 batters. In fact, the number is 74 strikeouts, 13 walks. That's a near 6-to-1 ratio. That's a funny stat because I talked to Josh Johnson today. He said, I have no idea about strikeout to walk ratio. I never even heard of it until I heard Ricky, my locker mate, talk about it last year. Mark Wiley said 2-to-1 good, 3-to-1 unbelievable, and with Ricky, he's about 4-to-1 this year. Good stuff, 6-to-1 since he's come back. The league average is under 2 strikeouts per 1 walk. One of those stats that some of the pitching coaches and scouts look at, some of the players don't have any clue about it. Guys?
Now, Mark Wiley has been very proud of Nolasco, the way he handled first his demotion and second his return.
Well, since his return in June, he was 3-1 with a 1.91 ERA. In July, he was 2-1 at an ERA about 3.5.
Two and two the count. Dempster and then Fold and Terrio. Dempster swings and misses, and Nolasco, first time through the lineup, gets a pair of strikeouts. Hasn't walked anyone. He's given up 2 extra base hits, the triple to Theriot and the double to Fontenot.
Ryan Dempster, the complete opposite of Carlos Zambrano. Dempster, a career .090 batting average.
Cub fans have to be a little concerned after last night's performance by Zambrano, who left with discomfort in his back. Ted Lilly's already on the disabled list with the knee injury. Zambrano had to come out early last night. The skipper, Lou Piniella, hasn't started pacing yet. But if the game gets tight, he'll be up and moving around. Ricky misses on the 1-1 pitch. Sam Fold getting the start in center. Kosuke Fukudome getting the day off. Aramis Ramirez can't play right now after getting hit by the Leo Nunez pitch. The pitch that hit Aramis Ramirez, and there's a look at Fukudome. The pitch that hit Ramirez was an 85-mile-an-hour changeup from Leo Nunez. 2-2.
Yeah, you could tell with the grip and the action of the pitch, but it caught Aramis Ramirez on that elbow. And remember, he went to the bases, got to second, all of a sudden started feeling nauseous and dizzy and had to come out of the game.
Yeah, Piniella told me he'd never seen anything like it. You know, guys get hit and usually stay in and run, but he said he was very dizzy. When Piniella got out there, he said it looked like his eyes were in the back of his head. 3-2 coming. Oh, man. Well, just like Cody Ross had to bear down and not let a call affect his AB, Ricky can't let this affect his inning. That's a strike.
That's a strike. You're on a hot day. This strike zone should be very liberal. Doesn't even matter. Hot day, cold day, that's a strike any day of the week.
Well, let's see how Nolasco reacts with Theriot up there.
Let's see how Wally Bell is the rest of this game on that low strike.
Nolasco trying to keep Fold close.
I was just thinking, Rich, when Fold was up there, he may have had words with John Baker, or Bake may have had words with him. Bake, a Cal guy,
Stanford guy.
Fold, a Stanford guy.
There's a lot of Northern California going around. We told you last night that when Nick Johnson was at first base, you had Derek Lee, Nick Johnson, and Andy Fox, all from Sacramento. All know each other very well. There goes the runner, a little hit and run, and it's fouled back to the screen.
Yeah, Andy Fox and Nick Johnson, very good friends.
Yeah, Craig interviewing Nick Johnson today. Nick in the papers this morning, and in that interview talking about Fox. Their fathers played together at Sacramento City College, one of the great junior college programs in this country, a powerhouse. Two coming, and it's outside.
And of course, they all know Nick Johnson's uncle, Larry Boa.
Another Sacramento product. Well, let's see if he's running here. 3-2 with one out.
I would imagine yes.
There he goes. Ground ball in the left field. Base hit. Full will stop there. The Marlins can't get Ryan Theriot out. Last night he finished with 2 hits, and he opens this night with 2 hits.
Well, a good at bat. And remember, this thing started with a 1-out walk on a pitch that clearly looked like a strike to Sam Full.
Derek Lee, who punctuated the night in the 10th inning last night with his 4th hit, a solo homer. Ricky popped him up his first time up, and he smacks it into right center field. That's real trouble. Into the gap it goes. Ross cuts it off. 1 run will score. Theriot to third, and that's it. Holding at first is Lee. A terrific play at center by Cody Ross to limit the Cubs to just a run.
What an adjustment by Derek Lee. You talked about him popping up on a first pitch that crowded him. Fastball that ran in. It looked like Ricky tried to do the same thing. Here comes the pitch, but the adjustment a little quicker, opened up the hips a little sooner, and Derek Lee made the adjustment and hits this ball well. But as you pointed out, so well, he gets just the single. Good play by Cody Ross.
Jake Fox, runners at the corners, infield back for 2. And Fox takes outside.
'70th RBI for Derek Lee.
Good breaker, and it's 1-1. I would suspect that Jorge Cantu at third base was hoping that early in the game he'd get a couple balls hit to him.
Maybe with nobody on base, and he's yet to get that ground ball.
One. Ricky in July 2-1. In June 3-1. All told in the 10 starts since coming up 5-2. An earned run average in the low 2s. Now he's run 3-1.
Not quite as sharp, and you hope that pitch to fold hasn't affected him in this inning.
Good fastball, and the count now 3-2. Does he throw another fastball to Fox?
I think the indication of how good that fastball was. Fox is a good fastball hitter. It was a fastball count, and he didn't get around on it.
Lee from first. Threw the breaking ball, and he stays alive. It's 3-2.
All right, you hear this term, baseball basics on Kids Sunday, the payoff pitch. 3-2's the count, and that's what's coming up, the payoff pitch.
Theriot at third, Lee's at first. And the payoff pitch is a beaut. Sharp breaker. It was tipped, and Baker held it.
Good job by Bake. A great pitch by Ricky. Remember, he struck Fox out and froze him on a big curveball last time up. This time the slider gets him on the foul tip. Look at the first thing he does is check to see if it was handled by John Baker.
Now it's Hoffpower.
Hoffpower, I kind of compare along the lines of a Jake Fox. Hoffpower is a lefty. Guys who have put together terrific numbers in the minor leagues. Hoffpower is 29 years old.
He pulls it. Johnson steps on the bag, so it's just a run. But the Cubs take the lead. Of the Marlins.
The cruise ship has landed.
It looks like it, huh?
Yeah. I think you got to, part of the deal on the cruise ship was you get a Marlins game, Marlins Cubs game. You get to go back, have a great buffet later. Of course, you can go back anytime on a cruise ship and have a buffet.
John Baker, Ricky Nolasco, Chris Coghlan against Ryan Dempster in the third with the Cubs up 1-0. Baker takes a strike. 9 straight now for Baker. 2 doubles last night.
He'll enjoy the off day. The Marlins travel tomorrow, the off day. And then it's Josh Johnson against righty J.D. Martin. A lefty in the middle game, John Lannon. So Ronnie Paulino will get that game. Lannon and Rick Vandenberg, and then Chris Volstad and Craig Stammer.
I'll tell you what, 2 of the hotter bats that the Marlins have right now are their 2 catchers, Baker and Paulino. Paulino had an amazing grinded out at bat against Kevin Gregg last night. Dempster sends Baker back after a sharp curveball.
And that at bat came with 2 out after Gregg had already struck out Cody Ross and then John Baker. And finally Ronnie Paulino hit one in the seats, his first ever pinch hit home run number 5 on the year. And the Marlins put together that great rally and ended up tying the game.
Nolasco takes a strike. Ricky has 1 career homer, and it was against the Cubs. You talk about Hoffpower and Fox hitting their way to the big leagues in the Cubs system. Ricky did that by pitching his way through the Cubs system and winning at every level.
remember looking at those numbers of Ricky Nolasco when the Marlins acquired him in that deal, then brought Sergio Mitre and Reniel Pinto for Juan Pierre. And I remember looking, having never seen him pitch, said, hey, this guy's a winner. He knows how to win games.
Yeah, 42 and 21 in the minor leagues with a 3.64 ERA before he got to the big leagues in 06. And of course, he was part of the trio of players that came from the Cubs in the Juan Pierre trade. Sergio Mitre, Reniel Pinto also in that trade. Count goes 2-2. That was December 7th, 2005. And of course, Nolasco made his major league debut in 06. Ricky hits that ball to the right, hits it pretty well. Hoffpower is back, and he makes the catch. Super Saturday on the 15th. Post-game concert with Stephen Curtis Chapman. It's the Marlins and the Rockies at 6:10. It's all presented by American Fasteners. Got a fireworks show as well. 1-877 Marlins. Marlins pennant flag, courtesy of South Florida Ford dealers as well. Rockies winners today. Wild card leaders today, as they beat Cincinnati in extra innings. Coughlin flied to left. Marlins still looking for their first hit against Ryan Dempster.
Yeah, only a couple of base runners. Bonifacio walked in the first, and Dan Uggla walked in the second.
Not sure if he's part of that cruise or not. Is that a Bridgeport Bluefish jersey he's got on? Coughlin, a line drive to left this time. Soriano has to play it on a hop off the wall, and Chris has got himself extra bases. There's the first hit.
Boy, and that was a nice hit, too. Just a beautiful swing by Chris Coughlin. Had a couple of hits and a walk last night. Strokes this ball well. It's our checkers double of the game and just sails it over the head of Soriano. This ball jumped in a hurry. Soriano really didn't have a play. Plays the short hop off the wall, and Chris cruises into second.
Bonifacio walked a 9-pitch at bat back in the first inning. Giants have taken a 7-3 lead over the Phillies in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, how about Tim Lincecum last night? Shut down that Phillies offense. 8 innings. Gave up 7 hits, no runs, had 8 strikeouts. Lincecum 12-3 now, leading the league in strikeouts and a 2.18 ERA.
But of course, the Rockies won today, and the Dodgers played tonight in Atlanta.
A couple of young right-handers in that game, Jurgens and Billings.
Most have conceded the West already to Los Angeles and feel that Colorado and San Francisco are relegated to the wild card. That's kind of how many feel about the Marlins in the East with the Phillies. The Fish open play, though, 6 back in the East. The Braves are 7 back.
To a degree, there's some merit to that, but do you really think the Phillies are going to go 20-7 again, as they did in July? It's hard to keep that same consistency.
Tapper towards short. Theriot in the dirt. D. Lee's really good at that, and he digs it out. Cubs on top, 1-0. Here in South Florida over the Marlins in the top of the fourth. We are joined now by the American Forces Network, broadcasting to U.S. Armed Forces serving in 175 countries aboard ships at sea. They're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. Thank you for everything that you do, and welcome to the National League. Welcome to the Cubs and the Marlins. Whether you're a Marlins fan or a Cubs fan or just a baseball fan, a chance to watch two ball clubs that have played well lately. And this is game 3 of a 3-game series. Marlins won the first one. Last night was a wild one that the Cubs won in extra innings. And this one right now, a 1-0 Chicago lead. Ricky Nolasco has pitched well. The run that has scored, a contentious one on the Marlins' mind. Sam Fuld walking on a pitch that looked like a strike. On a 3-2 pitch with Sam Fuld up, Ricky Nolasco threw that pitch.
Yeah, strike 3. Instead, ball 4 on the move. Fuld on that base hit by Terrio goes to third, scores on an RBI single off the bat of Derek Lee. Great pitching, by the way. Ricky throwing to Soriano to strike him out to lead off this 4th inning.
Great pitching on both sides with Nolasco and Ryan Dempster getting the start here. That ball is whacked foul. Last night in this cavernous football stadium, 36,000 were here, and a good crowd here on a simmering night in Miami.
A little later than normal Sunday start, a 5 p.m. local start gives the fans, especially the ones behind the home plate area, the ones in right field are still in the sun, but everybody else in a little bit of shade. A little more comfortable.
And of course, in 2012, this would be a game where the roof would be closed, the air conditioning would be on, and everybody would be happy. Shadows now above home plate. You can see it creeping out towards the mound. It's got to make it tough for hitters. 2-2. Almost gives you a postseason feel. Games in October, those day games in postseason history, oftentimes have shadows later in the day. That one fouled off the foot.
No postseason strike zone, though. Livan Hernandez got that pitch in '97.
Yes, he did. Well, the Cubs lost Reed Johnson when he fouled the pitch off of his foot. They've had some injury issues. Giovanni Soto's on the disabled list. Ted Lilly's on the DL. Dempster just got off. Zambrano came out of the start with the back discomfort. Still, the Cubs neck and neck with St. Louis. Cardinals were shut out today. So the two teams are in a dead heat tie. Cody Ross. Nice belly flop. And there are 2 outs.
Again, going back to kid basics. Got to get a good jump. Cody with a terrific jump. He's able to flatten out and make this catch, and he hangs on as he makes his landing.
Fans excited for that catch as well. They love the duck. Who doesn't love the duck? Only Cubs reliever to win a Cy Young Award. Nolasco bends one up there to Coy Hill.
Well, let's see.
Look at the fan. They love the duck.
They love the duck. Yeah. Duck got a standing ovation. You got to think of a couple of guys, especially. Is that Barney?
No, that would be Fred.
Fred. Okay. That's Barney with the hippie hoppa hat. You got to think of Lee Smith. You got to think of Bruce Sutter.
Barney's sucking down a cold one.
That's a Brontosaurus light.
Here's the 1-2. Struck him out. Breaking ball. Look at Hill. Yell his displeasure and Wally Bell.
Yeah, it goes both ways, Coy.
When you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? 1-877-MAROONY by Checkers Little Place. Big Taste by Corona, official sponsor of the timeout. And by Honda South Florida. Visit your South Florida Honda dealers online at sfhondadealers.com. Nick Johnson climbs in, 1-0 game, Cubs on top. Johnson, Cantu, Hermida on a night where the Marlins are without Hanley Ramirez and the Cubs are without Aramis Ramirez. And Coy Hill crouched in front of Wally Bell, those two exchanging pleasantries between innings.
Well, not real consistent. I think you and I both agreed. You saw the pitch to Coy Hill. The pitch to Sam Folk was a better strike than that pitch to Hill, and that's, you know, Hill's just arguing a pitch that he thought was off the plate and probably was.
And you know he's going to want that for Dempster. Here's our high center look at the called third.
This is a breaking ball. Ricky's trying to get it on the outside corner. Not so sure it ever got there.
No. Johnson takes a strike, and the count's 2-2.
We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but when Nick hit into that double play, remember Bonifacio bluffed going, and they got caught, stopped, and came back. I think he may have swung when he saw Bonifacio take off because he got a pretty good pitch to put in play.
The odd thing about that play, as the ball is out of reach, was that Bonifacio bluffed, but then he stopped and he was running back to first
with his back to home plate
when Johnson hit the ball to second base. Count 2-2. Both Hanley and Aramis Ramirez hit by pitches last night. Johnson takes down low. Hanley hit just above the knee on a Zambrano fastball. And Leo Nunez changeup caught Ramirez just in the right spot above the elbow. Hanley is available to hit. I'm not sure about Aramis Ramirez. That's a whole different deal with the elbow.
Different injury.
That's low and inside. And Nick Johnson, showing that great plate discipline, draws a leadoff walk here in the fourth.
Nick Johnson is one of those guys, when you play against him or pitch against him, if you're a pitcher, frustrating. He's frustrating because he takes pitches, but you're happy to have him on your side.
Well, the Marlins could use a couple more of him in their lineup.
Yes.
Guys that are able to grind out at bats.
And we don't want to go all money ball on you, but it's nice to have a couple.
Oh, 1. As nice as it was to have Johnson for the Marlins get on base 5 times last night, he got thrown out on the base pass twice. Once trying to steal second, and another time he got thrown out at third. Cantu checks his swing. Ryan Dempster is 5-5. This is his 19th start. He was out of the rotation 2.5 weeks with a broken toe.
Well, Dempster was actually a 3rd round draft pick of the Texas Rangers. He was traded to the Marlins for John Burkett in August of '96.
Dempster was not a part of the 2003 World Championship team. Spent that year in Cincinnati.
But had a couple of solid years. 14-game winner for the Marlins in 2000, 15-game winner in 01.
That's how the Marlins got Juan Encarnacion. At least the first time they got him.
Let's see how Freddie plays this with nobody out and a 3-2 pitch about to be made, and Nick Johnson at first base.
He's running, swing and a miss. Heels throw on the money.
Well, you got to make yourself make contact. When you have a runner who doesn't have great speed, but he's moving, that puts pressure on yourself as a hitter. You've got to try to put the ball in play. If you hit a little weak ground ball, you know what? There's a man at second base and 1 out. If you strike out, it's a double play.
With that, here comes the duck. Only Cubs reliever to win a Cy Young Award. Dempster, of course, was a Cubs reliever, and he throws a splitter, much like Bruce Sutter, with 37 saves in 79.
Bruce Sutter, one of the first to really perfect that pitch. Back in the mid-70s, he came along early mid-70s. There were a few guys that would throw a fork ball. It wasn't real hard. The splitter was a little harder, and he was one of the first to really perfect it.
Roger Craig, of course, was the guy that really taught it. Pitching coach for the Tigers, then manager for the Giants. Hermida taps it towards second. Fontenot scoops in time. And the Marlins are done in the 4th.
Gonzalez.
Our Spanish broadcasters, Cookie and Raul, join us now. Hi, guys.
Rich, Tommy, how are you?
Tommy, how are you?
Good, good.
Kind of looks like both teams are a little bit hungover from last night's game. Just the wild excitement, twists and turns. Everyone seems to be in a fog right now.
Yeah, it sure was, but we're seeing a good duel of pitching, you know, with Ricky Nolasco and Dempster. They both are doing very well, and like you said, last night was a long game, 4 hours. It's another day, so we'll see what happened today.
I kind of feel bad for Coy Hill, huh? 21 games in a row behind the plate. It's a good thing they're not playing. It wasn't a 1 o'clock start today.
Yeah, I felt bad for him until he threw out Nick Johnson on that double play.
All right, guys, have a good show.
You too, guys.
You too.
Nolasco dispatches Dempster for the second time. And Ricky's got an out to start the 5th inning. Sam Fold and Ryan Terrio, the two guys that got that 3rd inning started.
Ricky keeping that strikeouts to walks ratio going. 6 strikeouts this afternoon. And just 1 walk. Is today considered an afternoon game or a night game? I always get confused.
I think night game. I think anything that starts after like 4:30 would be a night game.
All right.
There is a distinction somewhere in the rule books. Right now, it's a tough time to see for either ball club. Baseball coming from sunshine into shadows. Change up, tapped out towards Ugler, and he gets the out. Nolasco gets the first 2 outs of the 5th inning. 1-0 Cubs here. The Hyundai Road ahead for the Fish. Marlins are headed north. Washington, D.C. High definition on Tuesday night. Wednesday and Thursday is a noon game. Actually a 12:30 game, a noon start for Marlins Live. Then it's a weekend series in Philadelphia to see those division-leading Phillies. Terrio has tripled and singled. The Cubs continue their road trip. They go to Cincinnati.
Won't need to pack many sweaters or jackets or sweater vests on this upcoming trip.
No, it's going to be warm up in Washington, D.C., and that usually means it's warm in Philly.
Yeah, we're going to see high 80s and 90s most of the trip, and hopefully sunshine.
Drag bunt attempt, and it's 1-2. Of course, as high as the Nationals press box is,
It'll be cooler up there.
yeah, but we better bring sunscreen because we're probably at a different level, and the ozone level there up there a lot thinner than, say, field level.
That's right, especially for the day game.
Terrio and Nolasco, the 1-2. That's a strike. Bake didn't frame it real well, and I think that's one of the reasons Terrio walks away from home plate in disbelief. Ricky gets the strikeout, his 7th. what happens. Bake kind of took it down low.
Plus, he was set up way outside. But either way you look at it, a whiff, a K, a punch out, he got rung up.
Ugla now to face Dempster. Ugla, Ross, and Baker. Dempster doesn't have the strikeout numbers that Nolasco has. He's struck out 3. In the hole, Terrio in time to get Ugla. But Dempster has given up just the 1 hit, the Coughlin double, all the way back in the 3rd inning. Construction on the Marlins ballpark is underway. Now's the chance to secure seats for today and the future. The all-new Marlins Pick 15 plan. Pick any 15 games of your choice. Establish new ballpark seating priority. 1-877-MARLINS, the number to call. Ross takes a fastball for a strike. Cody, and this one is bounced into a fielder's choice. We've been talking about Dempster in his former career as a Marlin. Another former Marlin got a win today. Carl Pavano is 9-8. He went 8 innings, gave up 1 run. His ERA is 5.37, but Pavano is now 9-8. He beat the Tigers today.
Yep, with the Cleveland Indians. Some thought that his name might be out there. Somebody looking for a number 4, number 5 starter.
Ross got that one off the end of the bat and folds. Snares it. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, guys, it's a Kids Sunday. The first guest ever on our kids show, then called Strike Zone, was Cubs pitcher Ryan Dempster. Take a look.
You know, Rock, I've been waiting for you. The bottom line is the real Rock hasn't just shown up. The real Rock's been here all along. And there's going to be tens and thousands of screaming fans tonight. And they're not going to be cheering for Sammy Sosa and the Cubs. They're not going to be cheering.
Yeah, what a character. Now, Ryan Dempster, also known as an amateur magician. And maybe after the next pitch, we'll show you some of his magical work on the show when the Marlins World Series trophy from '97, the year before it was taped, was disappeared and stolen somehow. And Dempster was able to find it.
Craig, I remember when he went skating with you.
Yeah.
You guys hit the ice together.
So here it is with the cape. And
Wow.
his magical powers, guys. Like the ball disappears today with his, look at this. Abracadabra. And believe me, it appeared. And as for that skating you're talking about.
Baker lines one into left field, the base hit.
Yeah, he planted me into the boards. What was funny was it was the first day of the ownership of the Jeffrey Loria, David Sampson ownership. We taped it in spring training. I remember we were up in Montreal for game 1. And Mr. Loria saw his opening day pitcher skating and checking the host. And who is this guy? Why are they getting him skating when he's supposed to be pitching? We had to tell Mr. Sampson about the 5th inning. No, we taped that 2 weeks ago. And nice to meet you.
Yeah, he's a talented guy. Dempster, huge hockey fan, has appeared many times dressed as who is Grapes? Is Don Cherry, right?
Yes.
The bad sport coat, almost the Lindsey Nelson type plaid look.
Got those collars, those Don Cherry collars. Great NHL fan, Ryan Dempster.
Nolasco flied out his first AB. He's behind in the count 0-2. Dempster misses outside. And it's 1-2. Did Ricky go? Yes, he did. And the Marlins finished the 5th rather quickly. On to the 6th we go with the Cubs holding a 1-0 lead. National League Championship Series. Everything you know about fantasy football is about to change. Introducing the all-new Fox Fantasy Football with more customizable features and new ways to play. Log on foxsports.com on MSN and join the next generation of fantasy football.
Rich, I think an interesting matchup with Ricky Nolasco facing Derek Lee, the first hitter. Remember how he got him on a fastball under the hands to get him on a pop fly. Next time up, Derek Lee adjusted and hit a similar pitch into center field for an RBI single. Now let's see who makes the adjustments this at bat.
Derek Lee, of course, last night had the big home run in the 10th inning as the Cubs had their 8-5 lead erased in the 9th. Lee put him up 9-8 for good.
Yeah, this fastball from Leo Nunez. Watch where it is. Middle of the plate, belt high. Number 21 on the year.
Sounded even better the second time. 0-2. Two pitches outside. Nolasco punched out 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 3rd, and 1 in the 1st. Bonifacio gathers it in, fires over to first in time.
And still not a ground ball to third base.
Yeah, we've been waiting, and I'm sure Jorge Cantu has as well. Cantu, if you don't know the story, for those of you watching on AFN, Cantu was the Marlins third baseman last year, making the transition from second. First couple of months, he developed kind of a sore arm, had trouble throwing. And this year he's been at first base and has been very good at first, but last night he got a couple balls, threw that one away, and threw this one away.
Well, you can really see on that first one that he had so much time. He tapped the glove, and he didn't get his feet in the proper way to make a strong throw and an accurate throw.
And Cantu having to go back across the diamond because the Marlins acquiring Nick Johnson to play first for these next 2 months.
And to show you the kind of player Jorge Cantu is, willing to do that, knowing that he was going to be playing a little tougher position for him.
Ricky makes the catch on a line drive from Fox.
Well, he actually caught that ball after it was past him. Great reactions by Ricky Nolasco. Fox hits this ball on the nose, and it's past him, and Ricky reaches up and puts it away. Nothing to it.
Like a Hoffpauir. Hoffpauir's 0 for 2. Well, Dempster has the lead. Nolasco has the edge in pitch count. Dempster at 79.
But he's yet to pitch the bottom half of the 6th inning.
Yep. Hoffpauir takes inside. Hoffpauir shares something with Brian Sanchez. Lamar University. Sanchez was one of the hit heroes last night, going 3 1/3 scoreless innings and showing some speed, scoring from first on a double. In fact, Freddie Gonzalez told us before the ball game that if he needs a pinch runner in this ball game, his bench is a little short with Hanley being hurt. Sanchez is the guy that he would run out there because he's pretty much off limits as a pitcher today.
Yes. Now what a pick-me-up for the bullpen. And Ricky has been a pick-me-up today, taking this game here in the 6th inning, throwing well, and allowing that bullpen to regroup a little bit. And Ryan Dempster's doing the same for the Cubs.
Yeah, the way these two starters are going, the pen might not even move until the 8th. Kirk Badenhop placed on the 15-day disabled list. A strain of the right lat. Tim Wood is back up for the Marlins. That is strike 3 call. Velasco catches the corner on hot power. 8 punch outs for Ricky. But the Marlins trail in this one 1-0. Freezing. Yeah, Cody Ross's great catch. Coming in. Straight ahead. Cross-brewed Coors Light freeze cam. 1-0 Cubs. Not much frozen here in South Florida tonight. Hot weather. Chris Coghlan is heated up with a couple of hits in this one. Doubled in the 3rd. Singles to lead off the 6th. Tommy Hutton, this has been an issue for the Marlins, and that is especially tonight, constructing an inning, moving runners up.
Well, I think it's been an issue more so than just in this game. And it's an area when you have strikeout guys, low on-base percentage guys, it's tough to sustain those innings.
Bonifacio tries to bunt and he pops it up. It's caught by Hill.
And there's an example right there. Poor effort by Bonifacio. And Coghlan's still at first base. Didn't get the bat high enough. You're bunting. You got to get that bat above the ball.
Here's Nick Johnson. And a strike from Dempster. Cubs bullpen hasn't budged. Marlins bullpen has been silent. Johnson has walked and bounced into a double play. Coy Hill threw out Johnson trying to steal in the 4th. Coghlan with more speed. He's at first.
It's an area that's been a real bonus for Coy Hill in throwing out runners.
You know, the amazing thing was when he went into the emergency room with the 2 fingers and the thumb off, when they reattached the 2 fingers and the thumb, the doctor actually took a baseball, placed it in his hand, and reconstructed his hand so that he would be able to grip the ball. And that happened after last season. I mean, he came to spring training with a lot of questions as to whether all of this was going to work. Would he be able to swing the bat? How would the hand feel?
And he's not a kid. He's 30. He was drafted by the Dodgers back in 2000. Been with a couple of organizations. We saw him a little bit with Arizona.
Guy that has battled to get to the big leagues. Finally won the backup role behind Soto last year.
So you know what? He doesn't care how many games in a row that he's had to catch with Soto on the disabled list.
His hand got caught in a skill saw.
Yeah.
He was cutting wood. Good pitch by Dempster, and it's 3-2. Cantu on deck. Coghlan still at first base.
See what Chris Coghlan does. See if he goes 3-1.
He's running, and Johnson hits it on the ground. Derek Lee is so good at first. He snatches up another.
But at least by making contact, Chris Coghlan's in scoring position.
Our poll result, as the trading deadline was on Friday, offense. Everybody wanted offense, and the Marlins added Nick Johnson. Smart fans. Everybody knew that the Marlins have one of the best benches.
That's right.
In the National League. Which team gained the most before the trade deadline? Boston, the Fish, the Phillies, the Giants, or the Cardinals? Well, I would go Cardinals.
With what those 3 guys have done?
Yes.
DeRosa's hit 7 home runs. Holiday's hitting over 600 coming into play today. He was 0 for 4 today. But Cliff Lee pitched a complete game the other night for the Phillies in San Francisco. How about Victor Martinez with the Red Sox? 5 for 6 with 4 RBIs today. The Red Sox got 11 hits from Pedroia, Victor Martinez, and Youkilis.
That was a mess of a game. Boston beat Baltimore 18-10. Cantu takes up, and it's 2-1.
Youkilis in that 3-game series in Baltimore was 10 for 12.
You know, you hope, the Marlins hope, that the change in positions for Cantu does not affect him at the plate. Two-1 in the dirt. There's a lot going through his mind right now. Marlins in a playoff race, and all of a sudden he's asked to go over to third base on about 3 or 4 days' notice and play a position that last year was foreign to him. As Andy Fox told us before the ballgame, third base is not an easy spot, especially in the big leagues. Cantu takes up, and so it's Hermida now with 2 outs. Larry Rothschild out to the mound, and now the Cubs bullpen is up, and boy, they're getting ready quickly. Oh, Aaron Heilman's up. That's not good news for the Fish. Sean Marshall is the lefty.
Well, you think at this point in time, you start looking at the pitch count. 93 for Ryan Dempster, and remember, making his second start since as he spent time on the disabled list with that broken toe. His last outing, not a good one. Went 5 innings, gave up 9 hits and 6 runs to the Astros. So the Cubs have to feel a lot better with the way he's pitching today.
Yes. Permito 0 for 2. Coughlin and Cantu aboard. Dempster flips one up there, and it's 1-0. Big spot, bottom 6. Our Toyota Trent, in his 9-game hit streak, it's his 3rd streak this year of 7 or more. Career high was June of last year.
See if Dempster gives in 2-0, even with men on 1st and 2nd. He's been able to get his secondary pitches over for strikes. There's a slider.
And instead of a 3-0 count, it's now 2-1.
He gets the check swing.
There's Cantu and Coughlin. Breaking ball, ground ball. Lee has it, flips to Dempster, gets the out, and the Marlins come up empty again. 1-0 Cubs. And Ryan Dempster have been outstanding, and the 1 run that was scored on Nolasco came back in the 3rd inning on the RBI single by Derek Lee. Alfonso Soriano, Mike Fontenot, and Coy Hill for the Cubs. Nolasco catches a corner for a strike.
Well, he's been sharp again today.
8 strikeouts for Ricky. The 1 walk scored. That was the walk to Fold, and that was a contentious walk because the 3-2 pitch the Marlins felt, Ricky felt, was a strike. It was with 1 out in the 3rd. Terrio followed with a single. Lee knocked in Fold. Cantu gets that ground ball and fires it across right on the money, and that time no hesitation, Tommy.
Yeah, get it, throw it. even if you do that and maybe you throw it a little offline, it allows your first baseman to go get it and then get back to the bag. But don't think about it, just get it a little bit. He thought about it a little bit, but got it over there quickly and accurately to Nick Johnson.
Told you, Andy Fox said third base is not easy to play. Baseball basics, hot corner.
It's the hot corner. Things and ground balls, line drives, they get to you quickly. And it's similar at first base. First base, you play a little deeper, but then you don't have to throw it. You just have to maybe race to the bag or flip it to the pitcher.
Breaking ball, ground ball. Johnson wanders way off to get it. Flips to Nolasco, who's on the bag in time. Nicely done.
Good job by Ricky to get over there. And keep in mind, these guys didn't practice this in spring training. They were not together. So he's there. He gets the flip and gets to the bag just ahead of Fontenot.
Notice how Johnson made the play, turned, and then got his momentum coming back towards the bag.
If you stand flat-footed, it's tough to flip it to that pitcher.
Hill back to the pitcher.
Oh, nice inning.
Nolasco over to Johnson. And Ricky Nolasco, a brief appearance here in the seventh. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. And of course, to all of you watching on the American Forces Network, broadcasting to U.S. Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. God Bless America was just sung here at Landshark Stadium. The seventh inning stretch, and no more Ryan Dempster. Noted Marlin killer Aaron Heilman is in. Heilman has been dominant against the Marlins individually. There have been some games where he's given up some runs. That was in the past. Lately, and against these Marlins, Heilman has been stifling as a Met, and now he's continued as a Cub.
Well, we saw Heilman come in the game last night to finish things off. Picked up his first save of the year. In the 10th inning, retired Dan Uggla, Jeremy Hermida, and Cody Ross easily. So Heilman with the fastball slide. Remember last night, he got ahead to all three hitters, first pitch fastball. Then he went and used his slider, used his changeup. So we'll see if he keeps that same pattern. See what the adjustments are and look who's coming up.
Yeah, those two hitters, Cody Ross on the left and Uggla walking to the plate, are a combined 1 for 25 against Heilman. So Dempster goes 6. Lupinella saying earlier tonight he wanted to stay away from Carlos Marmol. I think for Marmol's health and for Lou's health. So Uggla and Heilman. Let's see if he gets a first pitch fastball.
Nope. So he's kind of changed his thinking a little bit.
Heilman, of course, in 2005 as a Met threw a one-hitter against the Marlins. And of course, that was a Marlin lineup that didn't include any of the current Marlins. Matt Lindstrom in the Marlins pen. The pitcher's spot is due up 4th in this inning. And as nice as Nolasco is going, and as short as that inning was, they may need a bat here.
Yeah, a 6-pitch 7th inning for Ricky Nolasco, and right now at 97 pitches. So he's good for another inning or so, but you might have to go to the bench if his spot comes up.
Fastball 2-2.
And a perfect spot. Just caught that outside corner.
Struck him out with a fastball. Uggla was overmatched. Time for the stay in the game hold of the day, brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Cub hold leaders. Heilman looking to add to that. Carlos Marmol 23. I wonder how many pitches Marmol has had to throw to get those 23 holds. You can stay in the game with Just for Men Hair Color. Ross is 0 for 2. So Ross and Uggla are now 1 for 26 against Heilman.
Yep, Daniels 1 for 15. Cody's 0 for 11. Yeah, I talked to longtime Cubs radio broadcaster Pat Hughes, works with Ron Santo. He said probably 10 times this year he's seen Marmol walk the bases loaded and then strike out 3 hitters.
Ross goes down and calls that one to center. Hits it pretty well. Fold back to the wall. He leaps. It's gone! It's tied!
Cody, get the ball. You hit it off Heilman. So he breaks the 0 for 11 against Aaron Heilman with a center field shot similar to the one he hit the other night. And it's a tie ball game. Fastball, he launched it. Wasn't quite sure if he was going to get the distance. Fold is back and just out of his reach.
Baker drives one left center field. That's pretty well hit. Fold finds it on the warning track. Ross homered against Javier Vasquez and the Braves on Thursday night, and his home run here ties this game 1-1.
Boy, number 16 on the year for Cody Ross. Couldn't have come at a better time.
Well, Nolasco's night is done because the Marlins with 2 outs are going to pinch hit Ross Glode.
We talked earlier, Rich, about the ball, how it seemed to really be carrying in this game. That ball carried. Terrific outing for Ricky Nolasco once again.
So Glode now against Heilman. Ross Glode has been part of a outstanding Marlins bench. Both he and Wes Helms have a dozen pinch hits. Glode rips one in the gap, right center field. Lost to the sun, I think, by
He
Hoffpower.
didn't pick it up right away.
And Glode's got himself a 2-out hit.
Yeah, number 13 in the pinch hit department. But Michael Hoffpower in right field paused because he didn't pick this ball up. We talked about how he's in the sun. This is a tough part of the day for a right fielder. Jeremy Hermida told me this earlier. Look at how Hoffpower just standing there. Didn't see it right away. By the time he gets it, it's a little too late. And Ross Glode gets the pinch hit single.
Now Coughlin, who has 2 straight hits. The Cody Ross home run has tied the game. Boy, this has been a great series. And you go back to Friday night. The Marlins had a 2-0 lead. The Cubs tied it on a Jake Fox homer in the 7th. And then the Marlins pushed across 3 in the bottom of the 8th to win it 5-2. Last night, Cubs went up 6-0. Marlins cut it to 6-5. Cubs scored 2 in the 9th, seemingly to ice it. Coughlin fouls it back. And then the Marlins, down to their last strike with nobody on, rallied. Angel Guzman joins Marshall. A Ronnie Paulino homer, and then hits from Coughlin, Johnson, and of all people, Bonifacio to tie the game at 8. Then the Cubs got a home run from that man, D. Lee, in the 10th.
I think the mystique is broken. Just the fact that Cody Ross tied this game off Aaron Heilman.
On Marlins Live, following this game, we'll have a music video of this series. All the big hits. Hanley's got a bat. And a sore knee, for that matter. Coughlin pops that one up. Fox makes the catch. Inning over, but the Marlins strike, and it's Cody Ross getting his first career hit against Aaron Heilman, his 16th homer of the season. Nationals coming up Tuesday through Thursday at the Nationals. Everybody on their best behavior, and then on to Philly, where the Fanatic will be waiting. Oh, not that guy. Friday through Sunday in Philadelphia. All games on Fox Sports Florida and Sun Sports, DC and Philly. Cody Ross is asking for time. There is something on the warning track out in right center field, and one of the security guards is out to pick it up. There's the offending garment. Not nearly as conspicuous as the beach balls in Los Angeles, but nonetheless. Matt Lindstrom returns now, and he jumps right into the fire in a 1-1 game in the 8th inning.
He had a little right elbow strain, spent time on the disabled list, had some rehab appearances, but I'm sure the plan was maybe to get him into a game that was a 5 or 6 run game.
A little soft landing.
Yeah.
Fukudome pinch hitting, and Lindstrom misses up, and he's falling behind 2-0. Lindstrom has not pitched in the big leagues since the 23rd of June. That was against Baltimore in a ball game in which he gave up 3 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Fukudome going after a 2-0 pitch. So both starters pitch well. Neither starter will get a decision.
And once again, it's in the hands of the bullpen.
Velasco, 7 innings, 4 hits, a run, 8 strikeouts for Ricky, and just 1 walk. And of course, that walk scored.
See, I'm a firm believer, and I hope Matt Lindstrom has a nice 1-2-3 inning. And I think sometimes it's because of necessity. The Marlins needing help in their bullpen got Matt back here after 4 rehab outings.
Pop up, Cantu over, and Jorge is there, and he makes the catch.
Because in the 4 rehab outings, just 4 innings pitched. So does he have the arm strength back that he had when he was here before? Probably not. And you'd like to have him down there to get more outings, more innings, get himself completely ready. But I think sometimes out of necessity, he's brought back here.
Marlins lost Burke Badenhop to the disabled list. They brought up Tim Wood. Here is Fold. The good news about Wood is he's continued to throw well at AAA, and they had him working multiple innings down there. So he can slide into the Burke Badenhop role now. He's been stretched out a little bit.
And it was good that he got some experience earlier.
Line into center. Ross is there. Another tumbling catch. Second one of the night.
Do it all, Cody. Couple of nice catches. A game-tying home run. Fold thinks he might have a base hit, and Cody Ross there to make the grab. Not as nice a landing as before, but a nice catch.
Ross's homer has tied it. Terrio stands in against Lindstrom. So a pop-up and a line drive.
And I think, Rich, it would be a huge shot in the arm for the Marlins to have a healthy Matt Lindstrom the remaining 2 months.
And in healthy, you mean a guy that's able to throw the slider and the split anytime he wants. Because in the month of June, it hurt him to throw those pitches.
There's the slider.
And so he was relying simply on a 97, 98 mile an hour fastball. The amazing thing is he could still throw it that hard despite a sore elbow. Terrio goes up and smacks it into center field. Boy, the Marlins would be happy to see him gone.
This guy been an all-star 3 or 4 years, I think. He's had a terrific series. He's fun to watch.
Well, he had a great series in Chicago. Remember the Grand Slam? He hit a couple of home runs in that series. Guzman in the bullpen. That means Lindstrom has to face Derek Lee here, who could turn a fastball around.
6 years as a Marlins first baseman. Derek Lee. They forget Derek Lee won a batting title in 05 with the Cubs at .335 that year.
Lindy ran that one in. That almost looked like a two-seamer.
That's called burying a fastball. By the way, before that base hit by Ryan Theriot, 16 Cubs had been retired in a row.
Velasco accounting for 14 of the 16. Runner goes. It's fouled back. So Theriot with 14 bags was off and running.
They don't steal a whole lot. He's their team leader in that department.
If he was running 0-1, there's a decent chance he'll be running 0-2. Or at any time in this count. One of the questions going into this ballgame for the Marlins is who would close, because they'd like to stay away from Leo Nunez in a closing situation.
Well, Dan Meyer with a little closer experience. He's available.
Kiko Calero probably could handle that. Not running, and a fly ball to right, pretty well hit. Hermida into the corner, there, and he makes the catch and hangs on. Matt Lindstrom gets through the 8th. Marlins and Cubs all tied at 1.
But how did young Xander get the Cubs hat on?
Well, I got 3 out of the 4 sports. Mommy grew up 2 blocks from Wrigley, so he gets to be a Cubs fan, unfortunately for him.
What happens in the other sports?
The other sports is Heat, Panthers, and Dolphins. So
3 for 4. And your other child, you couldn't split up? You have a 10-month-old? Couldn't make that a Marlins fan?
The little girl, maybe Marlins.
No. All Cubs.
Well, that's how it's been. There's a lot of energy, though, in the crowd. Good to see you guys here. And I know the crowds have been into the game. Last night was terrific, the back-and-forth nature. A lot of Cub fans, we understand. That's okay. A lot of noise, too, here in the ballpark. Guys, we'll go back to you.
All right, thanks, Craig. This has a feel of a postseason game with the Marlins and the Cubs. Bonifacio I guess was just trying to slap that one by the third baseman Fox. Guzman is in for Heilman in a 1-1 game in the 8th. What's on the line here for both teams? The Marlins are trying to keep pace in the wild card because both Colorado and San Francisco have won. The Fish can pick up a game in the East because the Giants actually beat the Phillies 7-3. The Marlins open play 6 back. The Cubs are dead even with the Cardinals because the Cardinals were shut out by Houston today. So if the Cubs win this game, they're in first place by half a game starting next week. Bonifacio breaking ball, and he just gets a piece of it. Emilio Bonifacio getting the start at shortstop because Hanley Ramirez was hit by a pitch last night and the knee still sore. Brendan Donnelly getting up. 26,000 here. 25,969 to be exact. And Guzman misses outside. The Cubs have been in the postseason the last 2 years, and in both instances bounced from the division series. Swept Arizona in 07, the Dodgers last year. Chopper, Fontenot just gets him. So there's an out here in the 8th. Our Geico quote of the night from Burke Baithop: if you're going to be a fool, you might as well go all the way. They did a good job of jumping out of the hole that I put them in. Hopper not healthy yesterday, an emergency start, and put on the 15-day disabled list. Tim Wood is back up from New Orleans. And the Marlins obviously are going to have to find a 5th starter in the next week. Nick Johnson takes low and inside from Guzman.
Now, we've heard the name Sean West a couple of times. Of course, we saw the big left-hander earlier.
Johnson takes outside, 2-0. Johnson is in the final year of his contract. Contract, ooh, a strike. Nick kind of grimaced at that one. A contract in which he didn't have a lot of games played because of the many injuries. The broken leg in 06. Another chopper. This one, Fontenot tosses on to first. 2 outs. Guzman getting a couple of ground balls. And it's Cantu, who is 0 for 2.
Guzman making his 2nd appearance of this series, an inning and 2/3 last night. Everybody pitched last night.
Both managers have some arms in their pens they'd like to protect. Lou Piniella is certainly working with a much deeper bench than Freddie is. Piniella with the 5 extras. He's already brought Fukudome in the game. Milton Bradley. Aramis Ramirez is a question mark whether he's available or not. And the Marlins, with Hanley being hurt, have already fired the Ross Glode torpedo.
And it was on target. It's a single to right field.
Yes, it was.
And there's another available bat. Hanley certainly ready to hit. We don't know how well he can run.
Helms, Hanley, and Paulino. And Paulino's actually had a hot bat lately. 2-1s inside, and Guzman's run at 3-1 to Cantu. Angel Guzman very quietly has racked up a nice season in middle relief for the Cubs. 1-2, pops it out into center. And it's Fold who charges in and makes the catch. Guzman goes 1-2-3 through the Marlins in the 8th. To the 9th we go. And the battle of the bullpens continue. Lots of kids.
Yeah.
26,000 here.
Couldn't be much more even than that line score, could it?
Next out of the pen for the Marlins is Brendan Donnelly.
And for Lou Piniella, the pitcher is occupying the number 5 spot.
Fox drills one to left field. That ball is gone. And the Cubs get another home run from Jake Fox. He hit one in the first game of the series. Last night they got a 10th inning homer from Derek Lee to win the game. And Fox puts him up 2-1.
We've talked about this guy's power. Jake Fox, 8th home run. He had 17 in 53 games, 45 games in AAA before his call-up. So he's got big-time power and ran that ball out of here quickly.
Milton Bradley will pinch hit. What an addition he has been. Can't really find a position for him, but wherever they put him, he hits.
He hits.
Donnelly misses outside. Pitch. Bradley pops it up. Baker sees it land over the screen. Kevin Gregg in the Cubs pen.
There he is, getting loose. Talked about his 21 saves, but he gave up 3 runs to the Marlins last night.
Hermida, Ugla, and Ross are due up. Donnelly trying now to get it to the bottom of the 9th, just a 1-run game.
Tell you what, in this series, the Cubs have come through with big hits, key base hits. And the Marlins have had opportunities. They really do that last night, but they've had more opportunities as well and haven't been able to.
Milton Bradley goes and gets one. And Hermida is there and makes the catch. Jaguar performer of the game, Ricky Nolasco. Nolasco making start number 20. Punched out 8, went 7 innings, 4 hits. Gave up just the 1 run. Check out the new R Performance vehicles at your local Jaguar dealer or on JaguarUSA.com. Now Soriano. Yeah, the Marlins were able to get some big hits last night, but they waited until the very end of the night. And today's game has that same feel. Opportunities with base runners that get on, innings that go nowhere.
Just not a lot of real good at bats today either. And Bonifacio, who looked so good last night, getting the start today, failed in a sacrifice bunt situation the 6th inning. Marlins had a leadoff single, Chris Cogman, and Bonifacio's gone 0 for 3.
Cantu struck out into a double play with Johnson running for the first 2 outs of the 4th inning.
2 innings right there where the situational part of hitting deserted the Marlins.
One coming. That's off the glove of Cantu, and it's a foul ball. Cantu was in fair territory, but when he touched it, the ruling from Marty Foster is that the ball was in foul territory.
Boy, that's a call that could go the other way. So consider that a little bit of a break. Marty Foster, third base umpire right there, though.
It doesn't matter if the fielder is in fair or foul territory. It's where the ball is struck.
And that's a tough one for an umpire to judge.
Donnelly gets the strikeout. And up comes Fontenot. Fontenot doubled back in the 2nd. Cubs got that run in the 3rd on the Derek Lee single. And Jake Fox has untied the game here in the 9th. One ball, 1 strike. Phillies have lost. Giants beat them 7-3. Well, this was an opportunity for the Fish to climb within 5 games. That one fouled back. In the wild card, the Giants were the ones that beat the Phillies. They and the Rockies open play in the wild card lead, and Colorado got 2 runs in the 11th inning to beat Cincinnati. Charlotte is here. The Marlins need something amazing to happen in the bottom of the 9th. Little pop, and it lands foul. So it's Hermida, Ugla, Ross scheduled. Helms is available. Hanley is available. Paulino is available. Baker would follow Ross. than the pitcher spot.
You know, base runners. You want to start just with base runners.
Donnelly trying to finish the ninth. Count stays at 2-2. The Cardinals were shut out by Houston. Bud Norris, the pride of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, his first major league start, had a no-hitter into the 6th inning. He gets the win. Adam Wainwright, the losing pitcher, was the one that broke up the no-hitter.
He pitched pretty well himself.
I believe Mike Krukow and Ozzie Smith are also Cal Poly San Luis Obispo guys. The Mustangs. Donnelly bounces one, and a good at bat here by Mike Fontenot has the count at 3-2. Cubs are headed to Cincinnati. Marlins are headed to Washington. That's in.
Yeah, pretty good AB by Mike Fontenot.
Number 55, catcher Corey Hill.
Coy Hill, who was 0 for 3 and 2 for 13 in the series. Runner goes, and it's fouled back to the screen.
Quick jump by Fontenot. He has just 2 steals, 2 out of 3 this year. But you figure Lou Pinella's giving it a shot, at least to try to get him there, get in scoring position for Hill. And remember, Fukudome's in the game. He's hitting in the 9th spot, so he follows Hill.
Donnelly with a couple throws over. Cubs, the National League best team since the All-Star break, 12-4. One and one. Third year as the skipper of the Cubs. Cubs came out of the postseason last year looking to add offense. That one fouled into the seats. They had a great year in the regular season offensively, but as we told you, in their last 2 postseason series, 3-game sweeps both, they've scored a grand total of 12 runs in the postseason.
Well, you win 97 games, which is what they did last year. It's hard to figure out where you have needs, but I think their need was just trying to score in postseason.
Yeah. Well, Jake Fox certainly has been a nice addition and a pleasant surprise.
He's helped that offense.
Donnelly strikes out Hill. But Jake Fox with a big home run. And it's 2-1. To the bottom of the ninth we go. Kevin Gregg is in for the second game in a row. Last night he had a 3-run lead and he had 2 outs very quickly. He got Cody Ross, he got John Baker. Ronnie Paulino fought off a bunch of pitches and then homered.
Yeah, and then the fireworks started. Nice piece of hitting by Chris Coughlin. Nick Johnson sends one into right. There's the triple by Bonifacio that tied the game. So right back at it is Kevin Gregg. And Hanley Ramirez is going to be the first batter he faces.
So Hanley leads it off. And Gregg bends it outside to Hanley. Jeff Baker is at third base, a better glove man than Fox. Gregg catches the corner.
Hanley hasn't done a whole lot of pinch hitting in his career. 3 for 8. A pinch hit home run.
Ugla, Ross, Baker to follow. Then the pitcher spot. High pop up on the infield, and Baker just came into the game and makes the play. Gregg has the first out.
Interesting choice by Freddie. He wanted to give Hanley. He just hasn't been pleased with the way Jeremy Hermida swung the bat today.
Now you've got Ugla, who is 0 for 2, has bounced out and struck out. Ugla last night did not face Gregg in that inning.
The mentality of closers, when they have a poor outing, they like to get right back out there as quickly as possible. He's missed badly with 2 sliders to Dan.
Ugla with his 18 home runs. In this series, though, 0 for 9 with 5 strikeouts. Not going to give him a fastball.
Nope, another breaking ball. Well, as a teammate of Ugla's, he knows what he can do with a fastball.
There's the fastball, and it's in.
Yeah, you saw the setup of Coy Hill, the catcher. He wanted that fastball, kind of the way the Marlins had pitched Derek Lee, trying to crowd him inside, but he missed with it.
Let's see what he gets. 3-1. Slider, deep. This game's tied. His name is Dan Ogla.
Well, he got 3 sliders last night from Carlos Marmol. Couldn't quite pull the trigger. Kevin Gregg has blown another save, and Daniel Ogla has taken one a long way to tie it.
So for the second night in a row, the Marlins come back against their former closer. Last night, though, the Marlins couldn't finish the deal.
He saw so many sliders early in the count, he almost had the feeling that 3-1 he was going to see another one.
Cody Ross, left field. That one's deep. That one's over. Ball game! Walk off. Cody Ross, just like that. Back to back.
Oh, in Chicago, they love to call it back-to-back jacks. Guess what? Back-to-back jacks.
Dan Ogla and Cody Ross go back-to-back and knock the Cubs right out of Landshark Stadium. Woo!
Rich, I can't take this. 6th time in his career, Cody Ross has had a multi-homer game. Enjoyed having you. Thanks for coming.
The Marlins win 2 of 3 from the Cubs. They're 5 out in the East. The back-to-back Twins are down below with Craig Minervini.
Thank you very much. What an amazing win here. First of all, Danny Ogla, 3-1 pitch. Were you expecting this slider there?
I was just trying to hit off the fastball. I ended up getting a slider that kind of hung up there. And finally put a good swing on one.
It's been a frustrating series. Then you watch Cody foul you up. That's hard to do.
Cody's been huge for us all year. He hit the big homer earlier in the game to tie it up, and you know, to win the game like that's unbelievable.
Cody, you watched Danny take care of the 3-1. What were you thinking? You didn't waste any time.
Well, I was just looking for a pitch out over the plate and kind of ran back. Actually got jammed a little bit, but the ball's flying a little bit today. Just a good day for us, team.
You know, a great day, especially after last night where you battled so close, and you guys are so good at kind of forgetting about it, but it was still with a lot of people today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Ricky came out and did an unbelievable job, and, you know, Dempster pitched great, and, you know, we just got the timely hitting when we needed it, and it was a good one for us.
And Dempster was tough, but you saw Cody, boy, that was a big one for him, Danny, to break through just to get one on the board.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he really had our number, and Cody earlier in the game, you know, tied that up. And
well, he missed.
Yeah, he tied it up, did a great job, and I'm glad he wore most of the shaving cream right there.
Well, Cody usually shaves after the game anyway, doesn't he? Hey, you're one guy, you might as well leave it on.
Just going to leave it on until tomorrow, I guess.
Thanks, guys. Great job.
Thanks.
All right, good luck on the road. Oh, no! Ayala getting Dan Ogla, too. 2 for 2. That only makes sense. Those guys going in a tandem here in the 9th inning. One of the most dramatic wins for the Marlins, obviously, this season, guys. Good stuff.
And one of the best series, Craig, that we've seen all year.
Great baseball. You're right.
Friday night, last night's dramatics, and tonight the Marlins take 2 of 3 from the Cubs. On Marlins Live, we will have a music video of all the highlights of this series, starting with Friday night's Marlins win, the Cubs roller coaster win last night and tonight.
We talk sometimes, Rich, and probably a lot about the failure at times of situational hitting. That is why you have to love this ball club, because every once in a while they fail at the situational hitting and then they come through with the long ball.
With one